Solving story problems. The first step is to pay attention to the units and not the counts. Don't worry about what the numbers look like. Pay attention to what the numbers are counting. Read the problem a couple times and visualize what the situation is. Write the mathematical information using mathematical symbols. Suppose you're given the information that 4 3/8 gallons cost $12.07. Focus on the fact that we're being told about gallons and how much the gallons are worth. We have gallons and money. We're going to write this information here as simple as possible. 4 3/8 is written in symbols like this. For the word gallons, I'm going to use the letter G as an abbreviation to mean gallons. This number of gallons is equivalent. This is the sign for equivalency. That means this many gallons is worth this much money. It's $12.07. So your first step is to write on your paper the information from the problem using symbols. The next step is to focus on the question. The question is, what's the cost for 27? Focus on what the question is asking. The question is asking, what is the cost for 27 5/9 gallons? Just focus on what's being counted. Don't worry about this number. Writing the information for this question using symbols, we have 27 5/9. G, remember, is abbreviation from gallons, is equivalent to what cost. We have not worried at all about what the fractions are and what the decimals are. We're just writing down information and pay attention to what's being counted. We're counting gallons and we're referring to money. Now look at the information and compare it to the question. What's the difference between the information and the question? The difference is we have 4 3/8 here, and we want to get a new equivalent statement that's true for 27 5/9. So what we need to do is divide this with 4 3/8 and divide this with 4 3/8 to find out what 1 gallon is. When you have an equivalent relationship, if you divide one side with a number such as 4 3/8 and divide this other side with the same number of 4 3/8, you'll get a new equation which is true. And by dividing both sides with 4 3/8, we'll be finding out what 1 gallon cost. So I'm going to move this out of the way over here so I can look at it later if I need to. I'm going to divide both sides with the same thing. I'm going to divide both sides with 4 3/8. I don't care how difficult that looks, but that's what we're going to do. We're not worried about what the answer is now. We just want to know what to do. Looking over here, 4 3/8 divided by 4 3/8, we're counting gallons, so this is going to be 1 gallon written on this side. So we have a gallon over here. Recall we're using the letter G as an abbreviation to mean gallons. This is going to be equivalent to the answer we get to this division problem here. So now we're going to divide. I suggest you get a calculator which can handle fractions if you don't want to do it by using your brain. The calculator I had would only do fractions, so I took the 12 7/700 of a dollar and typed it in as 12 7/700, and then I divided by 4 3/8. The answer I got was this fraction, so I look right here to see what the decimal answer is, since this is talking about money, and it's 2.75886, so I round it to $2.76. My answer I got for this multiplication was this fraction, and if I look right up here, I can see what the fraction is changed to a decimal. It's 2.75886, and I need to round it to the nearest penny because money only goes to pennies. So I round it and I get $2.76 for the cost of 1 gallon. Now I know what 1 gallon is, so I can look back at the question. The question is, what's the cost for 27 5/9? And I know now what 1 gallon is, so I'll need to multiply this, because I've got to change the 1 into 2759. So I'll multiply this with 2759, and I'll multiply this with 2759. And I'm going to write on my paper what I'm doing so my instructor can see that I knew what I was doing. I'm writing this information over because here I'm going to show what the work is I need to do. I'm going to put parentheses around both these because I'm going to multiply both sides with the same number. Multiplying this expression over here with 27 5/9 will not be equivalent to this unless I multiply this side with 27 5/9. Now I put an equal sign here because most of the time equivalence, we use this equal sign instead of using the equivalent sign. But this is really not equal, it's equivalent. This mathematics over here gives me an answer of $76.05 for this many gallons, and that has answered the question. Let's look at this information again and see what we can write down, where we're only going to write down what math we have to do and then do the arithmetic at the very end. I'm also not going to round anything off until the very end. This way we'll get a more exact answer about how much we should pay for 27 5/9 gallons. So the first step is to write down the given information, look at what we're trying to find. We're trying to find out what 27 5/9 gallon is. So we're going to get rid of the 4 3/8 by dividing both sides with 4 3/8. What I just circled in red is what I write next. Not doing any arithmetic. What I have over here is 1 gallon, the expression that means 1 gallon. And I went 27 5/9. So I'm going to multiply both sides with 27 5/9. Just write down what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the arithmetic at the end. Now this is showing both steps. It's showing the dividing by 4 3/9, and then it's showing the next step of multiplying with 27 5/9. There's all the math that needs to be done to find the answer to this. Over here, this mathematics of taking 4 3/8, dividing it by 4 3/8, and multiply it with 27 5/9 gives us 27 5/9 gallons. And that'll be the equivalent to the mathematics of doing this on a calculator without rounding. 12 7/100 times 27 5/9 divided by 4 3/8 gives us this answer, which is approximately $76, and this rounds off to 2 cents. The answer we got when we divided and approximated when we multiplied was $76.05. The correct amount of charge before any taxes is added should have been $76.02.